Hello and welcome to a new Notion automations tutorial. Today I'm going to fulfill one of your wishes. In my Apple Health to Notion tutorial, I showed you how I track my habits. And you mentioned to me in the form that I put below my videos where you can make wishes. So where you can enter what kind of tutorial you would like to see next. You told me that you would like to know how I create these visual habit tracker views. So what I'm going to show you today is exactly how you can do that. And also we're going to go one step further and we will automate our habit tracker entries. So let's just dive in.
So I have already prepared two databases. We will need two databases. And one database I called Habits View, which is the one where you will actually see the calendar view. And the other one is Daily Logs, where you will make your daily entries. So whether or not you perform the habit. Let's have a look at the first one, Habits View. Here I already entered 4 different habits. Then you can enter the period of how you want your calendar to be shown. You can choose between month, quarter, half a year, and year. And depending on what you choose, the calendar will look different. So I choose the 4 different ones for the 4 different habits, so you can have a look on how it will look like. Then color chooses the color in which your habit should be entered in the respective calendar. So green, yellow, blue, purple, but you can also choose pink, blue, red, whatever color you want. Okay, and the formula, which we will talk about later, I already entered here. It's a pretty long formula, which I will explain you later. Okay, our second database, Daily Logs, is where we will make our daily entries. So for example, today we want to make an entry because we read already our 10 pages, 20 minutes, whatever your goal is. Here, the name remains empty. You only have to enter the date, it's today, for example, and the habit that you did. So we read, so we enter reading here. And now you can see that we got a green dot here for Saturday. So we have our habit entered here. Let's do the same for the other ones. Also 12th of April, so yoga, for example. Then again the 12th and running. Okay, so for eating healthy, we also choose today, the 12th. Okay, and now you see that always the last field created is the one for today, and this will always be the same. So you will not get the entire month, like from the 1st of April, let's say, to the 30, no, April only has 30 days, to the 30th of April in one. That will not be the case. It will always show you the same amount of weeks, but counting back from today. So today will always be the last field created. So you always see today as the last one. Doesn't matter if you choose month, quarter, half year, or year as the period. Here you will see your daily logs. Here you only see the page. So, well, here you only see new page as the name because we didn't enter a name here. This, of course, you can choose differently. You could enter the name here or the date, whatever, but it's not necessary because these are entries that we don't need for any other purpose. So we don't actually need to know here what page it actually is. So we can also hide this. Okay, so what we could do now is to make it as a gallery view. So let's say we duplicate this, call it gallery. Then we change the layout to gallery. And now we don't want the page content to be shown, we want nothing, but we want the formula shown. And this is how it looks like. This, of course, then only works well with month view and quarter view. Half year and year doesn't fit here anymore. So here I would suggest only to choose month and quarter if you want this to be shown in a gallery view. Okay, so now that we have our visuals, let's check what is actually behind this. So let's have a look at the formula. I copied the entire formula here, and I have to admit I did not create it myself, but I honestly also don't remember where I got it from. I think it was somewhere on Reddit, could also be a YouTube video. I'm really not sure anymore because I have it for quite a while, but let's check what this formula actually does. So I broke it down for you a bit, and what it actually shows us is a label of the month across the top. So here, wherever a new month start, if it's a week where no new month start, then you will only see this little dot here, the empty dot. If it's a week where a new month start, you will have the first letter of this month indicating so. So what else? We have rows for each weekday, so Monday to Sunday. The original formula that I copied there, it was from Sunday to Saturday, but since my week starts on a Monday, so I changed this so that the week starts on a Monday. And here you see now you have the abbreviations for each weekday here on the left side of this calendar view. So then we have a dot that indicates that the habit was done that day. Depending on the color you choose, it will show up in that color. And a blank space will appear if the habit was not done that day. So you see here, all is empty because we only did the habit today. Okay, so let's check. We start with a function that is called let's. So it basically defines variables. So we define multiple variables. First, we define the week number. And this shows or tells basically how many weeks will be shown. And that depends on the period that we chose. If we chose month as a period, 5 weeks will be shown. If we chose quarter as a period, 13 weeks will be shown. If it is half year, 26 weeks. And if we chose anything else, meaning year, then it's 52 weeks. Then we define the date format. In that case, it is the month written in with the full name, basically. Then we have the day as a number and the year. Then we have week labels defined: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And we have the background style defined. So we have a gray background here. So you see the gray background here. So then the reading records, which is basically what we enter in our daily logs database, and the date will be automatically formatted to the date format that we define up here. Then we have today and the start of the week defined. So it finds the day of the week, meaning that it gives each day a number. In that case, Monday, we start with Monday, our week. So it starts with 0, and the last day of the week will get a 6. In that case, it's Sunday. Might be a bit confusing because we usually tend to start counting from 1. But if you are used to coding a bit, you know that you usually start with 0 and not with the 1. So we still have 7 numbers, but we start with the 0. And then it finds the most recent Monday, which is then the start of the week. So then we need a start for our calendar grid. And this is defined here in first sun date. In our case, it will be first month date actually, but since the original database used the Sunday as the start of the week, this variable was called first sun date. I could rename it and call it first month date, which I didn't do. So then we have placeholders that just improve the visuals basically. So they are creating some extra space to align everything visually more appealing. So it's just the formatting. Then we have the month label. So this is doing what I already told you here. So it puts the labels where actually a new month starts, to that week where a new month starts. So where are we? And then this is the formula that defines the grid. And then we have the final line, and this joins everything together. So we have the month label on the top, and then the weekly row below it with dots or blanks. So this is what the formula does. I hope it explains it a bit. When I provide the template, which I will put in the description, you find this formula explanation, but you also find the formula already put in here, so you basically don't have to do anything, just entering your habits. Okay, so what else could we do? I have in my Apple Health database where I track my habits, I also have a weekly and a monthly progress, which I find quite good as a visual support on how I am with my habits. So if you would like to have something like this as well, we could build this the following way. We need in our daily logs database 2 more properties. And these are 2 formulas. One of them is called this week, and the other one will be called this month. Okay. So how do we check if it's this week? We click in here and we define the formula. We need the date and then format date. And we want the formatted date to give us the week. So which would be like this. So this is week 15 of this year. If you want to be entirely perfect, you also actually have to add the year here, because every year at some point has a week number 15, but this is unique. So week 15 of week 20 of the year 2025 will only be once. So let's do it properly. And this has to equal now, so which will be the today's date dot format date again, and here we do again week and year, and here the result of this one is 15 of the year 2025, and this one will also be 15 of the year 2025, so this equals, so we get a check here and we save this. The same we can do, so let's copy this formula for the month, just that here we don't want the week, we want the month. And we also get a check here. So what else do we need? We also need the number of the day of the week, so the number of the weekday of today, basically. So today, when I'm recording this, it's Saturday. So for me, it's number 6 of the week, because my week starts on Monday. If for you the week starts on a Sunday, the Saturday would be already week number 7, weekday number 7. So we have to define this. So we go back to our habits view database, click on the table. I will make this a bit smaller just for simplicity now. And we first define, or we first create a formula that tells us which day is today, basically. So formula, and I call this weekday. And I click in here. So I type now, which is today, and then format date, and then I type in 4 small d's, and that gives us the name of today, which is Saturday. Okay, then we can make this a bit smaller, and then we need a formula that, or where we define which day of the week the Saturday is. So this I will just copy here and explain you. So I call this formula day number, and I edit this formula and I type it in here. So this tells you basically, it defines a number or converts the number. If the weekday is Monday, then give it a 1. If the weekday is Tuesday, then give it a 2. If the weekday is Wednesday, give it a 3, and so on and so forth. So it defines from Monday to Sunday all days with a 1 to a 7. If your week starts on a Sunday, then just start from Sunday here. Sunday is 1, Monday is 2, Tuesday is 3, and so on and so forth. Okay, so we save this, and now we know that today is day number 6 of the week. So now we can start building the progress tracker. So we created another formula that we call weeks progress. So we edit this formula, and now we are calling a property from our daily logs database. We are calling this property. This week, we are calling from our daily logs database. How do we do that? We choose our relation, daily logs, then dot, and then we filter current dot. And then this week equals true, which means this week has to be checked. And then we need to know how many times, in how many entries this week was true. So we need the length. So we put dot length. Oops, there was a typo. Length, like this. And it's 1. And this is correct because you have checked reading this week only once. Okay, so how do we continue here? We have to divide it by the number of days in that week, or by the number of days in the week that have already passed. In this week, 6 days have passed already, so we need to divide it by 6. But this needs to be automatically updated, so we need to divide it by the number of weekdays. Okay, so now we have a number that we cannot really work with. It's 0.166666, but we would like to have it in percent. So what can we do? We can do right click here, add property, and then we can change the number format, which is percent. Then we can change how we want to have it visualized. We can choose a bar or also a ring, depending on what you like more. I prefer the bar, but now we see another problem. We don't see the number anymore, and we actually also don't need that many decimals. So what we do here is we round that. So we put a round here, we open the parentheses and we close it. And now you have 0%. So how do we fix that? Here, after day number, you multiply by 100. Then we have 17,000%, also doesn't make much sense, and then we divide it by 100 again. So we have 17%, which is much more true to reality. So on 17% of the week, we have already performed our habit. Okay, so now we have our week's progress. Now we want the same for our monthly progress. So we create a new formula and call this month progress. So then we edit this formula. We call again our daily logs. And this time we filter not for the week that is checked, but for this month is true. Okay. And then dot again length, because we want the number of days it has been checked already for this month, our routine. And here again we get 1 for all of this because we only have checked once this month our respective routine. Okay, and now we want to divide this by the number of days that have passed in this month already. So for the week we needed this helper here. For the month we don't need this because the month always starts at the first of the month. So we divide this, and now we have now dot format and date, and to get the number of days in this month that have passed, we just type a D. Now I'm not sure if it was a small or a capital D, so let's quickly check. It was a capital D, so it is D. Okay, so what I forgot here is that this is treated as a text now. So we get a number. So let's quickly show you what actually happens here. So this is 12. So today is April 12th. So this is what we get. But this is not treated as a number by Notion, but as a text. So what we have to do, we have to convert this into a number. So I do to number, open the parentheses and close it here. And then we get a number actually. So now we edit this property again. We want percent and we want it to have it shown as a bar. Now we get this weird representation here again. So we round it. Then it's 0. So we multiply by 100. And then we divide by 100 again. So we have 8%. So today on April 12th, I completed my habit once. So in 1 day out of 12, which is 8%. So now we can edit this to our gallery view. So the week's progress and the month progress. Oh, sorry. Not the day number, but the month progress. But now it's also not so visually appealing yet because we don't know what is what of these two. So let's give it some kind of header like I have it here. So I gave it a header week and month. So let's do the same here. So we go back to our table, we create a new formula, and we type week display. Then we edit the formula and then we type style. Then the name that you want to give it, so week, and then how you want to have styled. I want bold, and you could also give it some color. I want black, but you could choose, I don't know, green, for example. And then you close it and then save it, and it will appear in green. And the same we do for month. So we just duplicate this property. We call it month display and we edit the property. So here we only have to edit the name and we save it. And now we have these two so-called headers, which we can now enter here in our gallery view as well. So we want the week display and we want the month display, but we want the week display on top of the week's progress and the month display on top of the month progress. Okay, so and now you see how many percent of the day, of the week and of the month you have already completed your habit. If you want another way to visualize it, you can also do something like this. So you can see the actual number of days out of which you have completed your habit. So this you could do the following way. We go back here, we go back to our table, and we create another property, again a formula. How do we call this? Weeks progress text. So and then you type in quotation marks progress colon a free space and another quotation mark plus. Now we want daily logs dot filter current dot this week is true dot length. So let's see what would happen here. Click save. And now we have progress 1, but we want this display. We want the number of days we completed our habit, then a slash, and the number of days that have passed already in this week. So we go back here, we do a plus again, and now quotation mark, free space, slash, no free space, sorry, quotation marks, slash, quotation marks, plus, and then the number of days. And now you see here already progress is 1 out of 6. So, and the same you could do, of course, with the monthly progress. So we duplicate this, and then we call this month progress text. We edit this property, and here we don't want this week, but we want this month. And then we don't want here the number of days, but we want here now. Format date, then we want here day, and then we want this to have converted to a number, and now you see here 1 out of 12. And this you can enter now here in the gallery view again. So we add these two, and we want the week's progress here and the month progress here. And now you have all the visual ways that you can have to see how your habit progresses.
So now that we have set up our visual habit tracker, we can go one step further. And it wouldn't be this channel if there was no automation included. So we are going to automate our habit tracker entries, and we are going to do so using Apple shortcuts. And how we set this up, I will show you now.
So I have already built this shortcut, so I open it for you. And what you see here is the secret token that you get when you connect your databases with an integration, or how Notion calls it, with a connection. So this secret token no one should actually see, but since I built this database for the purpose of showing you how to do this in this video, I will not use it, so I don't care whether you see it or not, because I will just delete it afterwards. But if you build it for your own, please make sure that no one sees it, because everyone who has access to this token can access your database. How do you get these tokens? So you have to open your databases in the page view. You click on these 6 dots here, you open it as page, and then you click on the 3 dots here in the upper right, and then connections. If you want to create a new connection, then you go to manage connections, then you scroll down here and go to develop or manage integrations. And here you can create a new integration, and this will give you this internal integration secret. If you click on show here, you can then copy it, and then you just have to paste it in here. Then we set the variable key to this text. Then here, this is our current date, so that you don't need to input the date yourself. It directly takes the current date in the ISO 8601 format, which is the format that Notion uses. How do we actually create this current date? So we are looking for format date. Then we have here directly map to key, which of course we don't want, so we want to clear this. Then we have here date, and we type current, and then we can choose current date. Now we want the date, and date format has to be ISO 8601, because this is the format Notion uses. The time we don't want is not necessary, so we don't need to tick this. And here, date format, you again choose ISO 8601, And that's all that we have to do. And then we can close this, or in that case now we delete it because we already have it. In this text field here, we have the database ID, and this is the one that you get when you again open your database as a page view. You click on these three dots again and you click copy link. And then you can paste it in here. But what you get then is the entire link that if you paste it in your browser, you access the page. But this is not what we want in that case. We want only the page ID. And this starts after the first slash. So you can remove everything before, including the first slash, you remove. And you remove everything behind the ID, which ends before the question mark. So including the question mark, you include everything at the end. So this would be the database ID for your habits view. But this is actually not the one that we want to access. Because what this shortcut is going to do is it accesses these daily logs, because this is the database where we want to make entries, right? So it enters automatically the today's date here. And then we want to get a list of all the items that are available to choose in this relation here. What are those items? These are the items that we have in here in our habits view database, because we want to choose our habit and the habits we have defined here in our habits view database. Okay, so we actually need the database ID of the daily logs database. So we open this as page. This database also has to be connected to our integration. So both databases have to be connected to the integration, because we eventually will access two, so the both of them. Here we again click copy link and we paste it here, and we remove the first part and the second part, and this is our database ID. Then we give it a variable, so we call it daily logs underscore database underscore ID to this text field here. Then we want to get the contents of this ID and the values for properties dot habits underscore view dot relation dot database underscore ID. So here we are accessing now this relation, and this relation is actually a link to this habits view database. So we eventually now also access this database. That's why both databases have to be connected to the integration. So now I want to show you what actually happens. So now we get all the IDs of the items in our habits view database. Oh, sorry, here. So now we get all the items in our daily logs database. What happens if we put this here? Then we run it. And then we get the database ID of our habits view database. Click done. Let's cancel this. We stop this. And now we want to access this database. So we need the get contents of URL. It's this module here. And then we type https://api.notion.com/v1/databases/ then our variable habits view underscore database underscore ID/query. Then the method that we want to choose is post. So not get, not put, not patch, and delete, but post. And then you open these headers here and you write authorization and then bearer. And then you can just start typing key, because then it will show up this variable already here, and this you click. So because this, our secret token is the authorization that we give Apple Shortcuts to access our Notion database. Then we also need the Notion version, which is 2022-06-28. And that's everything that we have to enter here. Then we want to get the results, so the values of this module here. So let's see what we get then. So now we get all the pages and relations and properties that are in our habits view database. So we access it that way. So now we need a module that is called repeat with each item. So we want to get the value for the page ID in our habits view database. So we get the value for ID in our repeat item. Then we set a variable again, which we call habits view underscore page underscore ID to this value here. So you see when I click on here and I want to reveal where this is linked to, I see it is linked to this module. After we got the page ID, we also want to get the name of that page. So because with the ID itself, we cannot do much. At least I don't know the IDs of all the pages that I created, but I can work better with the name. So we want to get now the name of that item, of that database item. So we want to access the habit title. Here, it is important that after properties dot, you enter how actually your title property is called. So if you have name here, then please write name instead of habit. But we call it habit, so I have to call it habit here as well. So, and then this is properties dot habit dot title dot one dot plain underscore text. This is how it is defined in the Notion API. Just change this word according to how you called your title property. Then again, we set a variable and we call it habits view underscore page underscore title. Then we want to connect these two. We want to have the page view underscore page underscore title, and then we want to have the respective ID. So here you can just, so you basically, when we delete this, you type quotation mark, colon, quotation mark, and now you can do right click, insert variable, and then you find your variables here already. And we want habits view page title and then habits view page ID. Okay, and then our repeat ends. And now we want to combine our repeated results with a comma. So here you can choose new line spaces or custom. Please choose custom. And then you type in here just the comma. And then here in this text field, you write two curly brackets. And in these curly brackets, you enter combined text. And now you need a module that is called choose from list. So let's show you how this works. Choose from text automatically appears here, but we don't want this. So we want, if you click on this text here, we want dictionary. And then you can choose here keys. So this is what you have to do here. So we can delete this again. And then we need a get dictionary value. And then you get the value for this selected item in this text. So you get the value for this item that you choose here in this text. Because what you actually choose in here, in this choose from list module, is from this text. Then you set a variable to your chosen item, which is then called related underscore habits underscore page underscore ID. And then let's see what we get shown here if we do so. So we can delete this show here because we have a show here now. So now we can choose from all our habits. So let's say we choose yoga. This is our yoga page ID. Then we click done. So what we need now is again a content or get contents of URL modules. So here in this URL field that appears here, you type https://api.notion.com/v1/page. The method this time is post. Headers is again authorization with your key. Notion version is the same, and an additional key here is content type, which is application/JSON. Then here in request body, it's JSON, and now we need to define this a bit. So first you need to type here parent. This is a dictionary. Then when you have this open, you click on this plus and the next item will be indented here within this parent group. Then you type in here database underscore ID. This is a text, and here you map your daily logs underscore ID. So you can just right click here and then select insert variable, and you can choose the variable, or if you don't know it anymore, you can also select variable here, and then you can just select it from each module here. Okay, so the next one that we need is properties. This is also a dictionary, and when you open it, it's a dictionary, and then you open it again. And with this selected and open, you click again this plus button, and the same as we did with parent, we get a key indented within this property group. This you call date, which is also a dictionary, because we need to edit our date property with the current date. Then the same you do here, you enter an item within the date group here. So you select date, then you click this plus item, and you can enter an item within this date group. Here, then you enter date, which is also dictionary. Within date, you enter start, which is a text, and then you map here the formatted date. If you click now here, insert variable, you will not find this here, so you have to select variable and then choose here the formatted date. Okay, and the second property that we are going to edit is our habits view relation. So you see here, I call this exactly how I call the properties in my database, which is important. So date is date, so it's not date done, date due, whatever kind of date, it's just date. So I also called it date just here. And the relation is called habits underscore view. So please also pay attention to upper lowercase. So call it exactly as you call it in your database. And here, habits view is again a dictionary. Then within habits view, we have relation, which is an array. Within relation, this you cannot rename. This will automatically be item 1 and will be a dictionary. Then within item 1, we have ID. Just leave it as ID. Don't call it ID for whatever database, just ID. If you call it somewhat else, then it will give you an error. And ID is a text. And here we map our related habits view underscore page underscore ID. Okay, so let's run it. Now we can choose from the list. Let's choose yoga. And now we see here that we get IDs. So if it looks like this, if it doesn't say status 400 something or error or something else that looks like it didn't work, then it looks like this and it has worked. So we can check now, and we have yoga in here, and where is it? Yoga and an entry here. Okay, now since both are the same dates, you see only one entry, but let's say we delete this. We delete eat healthy, and let's do the same procedure again with eat healthy. Now we have here eat healthy on April 12th and our entry here somewhere at the end. Exactly there. Okay, so now you might have noticed that you always get the database ID shown, which is something that we don't need. This is just to check if all the steps in between worked, so we can delete this. And now if we delete, for example, reading, or let's just delete everything here. Delete, so we have no entries here. Now we run this again. Reading, okay. Now we don't get the database ID shown anymore. We have here an entry reading, and we have here in our calendar view the green dot. So this shortcut you can now transfer to your iPhone and then just quickly enter the habits once you have done them, and everything is automatically done on the Notion site.
So this is how you can create your visual habit tracker and automate your habit tracker entries. And if you find this tutorial useful, then I would be very happy about a thumbs up. And if you are interested in more Notion automation content, then I would also be very happy about a subscribe. And then see you in the next tutorial. Bye bye.